For almost his entire existence, Luigi has stood in his brother's shadow, often the underdog, often forgotten, often looked over in favor of his older siblings' adventures. And at first glance, it might be easy to just see him as a carbon copy of his brother. But Luigi has walked a long path towards individuality, picking up bits and pieces over his 30-year lifespan that have made him into the iconic and loved character he is today. From his powers to his personality, here's how Luigi became Luigi. Luigi's origins can be traced back as far as his siblings can, to the development of the original Donkey Kong game released in arcades in the early 1980s. For this game, creator and designer Shigeru Miyamoto developed a now iconic character, Jumpman, known currently by his much better moniker, Mario. Miyamoto had hoped that this character could be used in multiple titles he was developing, and kept his design a somewhat empty slate as a result so he could better fill the multiple roles his creator envisioned. At the same time, Miyamoto had been inspired by several arcade games that featured competitive or cooperative multiplayer gameplay, games like Joust. He wanted to make his own mark on the emerging concept with a multiplayer game all of his own, Mario Brothers. In Miyamoto's mind, this necessitated the creation of a second character for the second player to take control of. Interestingly, despite their reputation as a creative powerhouse today, many of Nintendo's developmental and world-building choices in their earliest years in the gaming industry were made out of pure practicality. Mario's design and distinctive characteristics were a product of his creators working with only a few pixels, and wanting to make an iconic design that would stand out. Similarly, Luigi's earliest appearances were designed with a similar approach. In practical terms, there was no need to make an entirely new character design for a second player when they already had something iconic to build off of. So, Luigi's first incarnation was quite literally a Mario clone, a palette swap of his original sprite, with green overalls and a white shirt and hat. Though he would obviously evolve away from this look, the color green would become an integral part of what makes Luigi, Luigi. The only thing he needed now was, well, the name. There are a couple of theories as to where Luigi got his moniker. Mario Brothers was the first time both Mario and Luigi were actually given names. At this point, it's well known that Nintendo's iconic plumber was named after Mario Siegel, the landlord of one of Nintendo's buildings in the greater Seattle area. According to hearsay, the name Luigi was borrowed from a pizza parlor located near Nintendo of America's headquarters in Redmond, Washington, appropriately named Mario and Luigi's. Whether or not this is actually true is up for debate. Miyamoto has also observed that the Japanese word Ruigi means similar, and given that Luigi was originally designed to be identical to Mario in every way except their color scheme, it's entirely possible that the anglicized version of the word, Luigi, was the origin of the name. Mario Brothers also gave both Mario and Luigi an integral part of their backstory and identity, their profession. In Donkey Kong, Miyamoto envisioned Jumpman as a carpenter. This makes a lot of sense, of course, considering that the game took place in a construction site. However, during the development of Mario Brothers, it was decided to set the game in the sewers of New York City, with the titular brothers investigating the sightings of strange creatures in the metropolis's underground. Because of this new sewer-themed setting, pipes became a central part of the franchise's aesthetic, with the creatures, and eventually the brothers, moving in and out of them. It didn't make much sense for carpenters to be working through these pipes, so the Mario Brothers were instead made into plumbers, a profession and visual style that has stuck with both Mario and Luigi since. Luigi once again appeared as the playable character of the second player in 1985's landmark release Super Mario Bros. And just like in its predecessor, Luigi was nothing more than a palette swap of his brother. Regardless, much of what would be iconic to Mario, and therefore Luigi, was established in this game. Their roles as saviors of the Mushroom Kingdom, along with their ability to consume power-ups like mushrooms and fire flowers, which gave them special enhancements and abilities. However, more importantly to Luigi, Super Mario Bros. Saw the beginnings of his role as the younger sibling, the underdog given to the second player, something that would become central to his character's identity. In 1986, Nintendo released a sequel to Super Mario Bros. Known, unsurprisingly, as Super Mario Bros. 2. This installment was significantly more difficult than its predecessor and was not initially released in the West because Nintendo was concerned it would be too difficult for American audiences. It was eventually released as Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. This game signified the beginnings of Luigi becoming a more individualistic persona, standing out slightly against his brother. Though his sprite remained a palette swap of Mario's, their playstyle was no longer identical. Luigi could now jump higher and farther, but sacrificed the precision and response time of his brother's jump in exchange. In 1988, Nintendo reached a licensing agreement with a company called Fuji Television to release Doki Doki Panic, a tie-in video game designed to promote several of the broadcaster's products and events. Doki Doki Panic used 4 of Fuji Television's characters as its playable cast: Imagine, Mama, Lena, and Papa, each with their own noticeable and differing playstyles. Though Nintendo had come to the conclusion that Super Mario Bros. 2 was too difficult for the West, they still wanted to capitalize on their blockbuster franchise and release a new game. They eventually decided to localize Doki Doki Panic as Super Mario Bros. 2, replacing the Fuji Television characters with Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad. Many recognizable aspects of what we call Mario originated in this game, ironic given that it wasn't a Mario game to begin with, including many of Luigi's defining abilities. Though their appearance had been different in previous non-canonical spin-off games and anime, the Doki Doki Panic version of Super Mario Bros. 2 was the first playable incarnation of the Mario Brothers where Luigi was noticeably taller and thinner than his sibling. Luigi's unique jump also had its origins with this title. His longer, floatier arc was given a fluttery jump animation to justify this enhanced jump ability. This has remained a visual quirk of Luigi to this day. Interestingly, though the artwork for games like Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World would use Luigi's new appearance from the Western version of Super Mario Bros. 2, his in-game sprites were not reflective of it. Instead, they were simply still palette swaps of Mario. It wasn't until 1992's Super Mario Kart that Luigi's distinctive appearance would make its way into an actual game once again. Like many of his compatriots, Luigi was first given a voice during the N64 era, with Charles Martinet providing his talents for the Green Plumber alongside the other major male Mario franchise characters, Mario, Wario, and Waluigi. But because he did not appear in Super Mario 64, Luigi's voice was first heard by the world in the racing game Mario Kart 64. However, Martinet's original performance for Luigi featured a voice that was quite a bit deeper than his later incarnations. Interestingly, Martinet's clips were only used for the Western release of Mario Kart 64. In Japan, French translator Julian Bardakov provided his talents for Mario's younger brother. Bardakov's voice would also be used in all versions of Mario Party, and his falsetto range would provide direction for Martinet when he returned to voice Luigi in later installments. Funnily enough, because of the quick turnaround of the massively popular Super Smash Bros. And its sequel, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Luigi's voiceover for these games consisted entirely of voice clips for Mario from Super Mario 64. However, they were pitched up to allow Luigi to stand out. This would be one of the final times Nintendo would give Luigi a hand-me-down from his older brother. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, to Nintendo's player base, Luigi had become synonymous with the little brother and the second player. He was always considered somewhat of an underdog, and perhaps that is why people came to genuinely like Luigi. It was only a matter of time before Nintendo would give him his own adventure and set the stage for Luigi to become a fully fledged character all of his own. And with the release of the Nintendo GameCube, this solo outing came to fruition with the release of Luigi's Mansion. This title saw Luigi winning a contest he did not enter for a mysterious mansion, but upon claiming his prize, he realizes that the abode is haunted and that his brother is missing somewhere within it. In the earlier situations where Mario and Luigi were given differing personalities, the non-canonical Dick cartoons for example, Luigi was always shown to be far more cautious than his older brother. Though the game was not intended to be a horror experience for the player, Luigi's Mansion put its titular hero through scare after scare after scare, all of which seemed to genuinely frighten Luigi. And it solidified this previous characterization for Luigi in the main series canon. However, though some might think that this poorly reflects on Luigi's character, painting him as a cowardly, reluctant hero living in his heroic brother's shadow, this wasn't exactly the case. In fact, I'd argue quite the opposite. It's easy to be heroic when you are unafraid. It's easy to step up and take the spotlight when you've been a star for your entire existence. But it takes so much more to step up and do what you feel is right in the face of your own terror, to confront your fears and to conquer them. Looking back, that's probably not what Nintendo intended for Luigi. To be the underdog that had to earn his place, that had to pick up the pieces that would make him unique over nearly 3 decades. Who would become a fan-favorite character because of his quirks, not in spite of them. But that's Luigi, and I can't wait to see what they do with his character next. Hey guys, Lee here, and I wanted to end this with something a little different than I usually do. If you don't know who I am, I run this breakdown show here on the channel, and I've helped out with the production of game theory, film theory, Deadlock, and Culture Shock. It has been an absolute blast making Breakdown here on the Game Theorists for almost 2 years now. Seriously, it's an experience I will never forget. All of the nice comments, all of the suggestions you guys have thrown our way, the people reaching out and talking about the games we've covered and how much they mean to you. But all good things must come to an end, and this is the final episode of Breakdown that will be going up here on The Theorists. It has been a wild ride, and I wouldn't change any of it for the world. That said, I'm not going to stop making content. I have a lot more plans for the future. Skit comedy, video essays, more theories, and documentaries. Hell, I'd love to write books and make music someday. I'm still a very proud member of the team here at the Game Theorists, and if you want to follow me on Twitter for any of those updates, you can do that at Forrest First. For now, though, if you want to check out what I've made elsewhere, head over to Arcadia and binge what I got going. Most of what's over there right now are video essays that try to take a positive look at the media we love, the things about movies and games and TV shows that are worth caring about. There'll be a playlist somewhere up on screen, I'm sure. Anyway, thanks for the amazing 2 years, guys. It's been unforgettable. Much love and keep on theorizing.